I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely, and this is the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm taking the taboos of menopause and peri-menopause and bringing light to the dark. No bullshit, no shame. It's time for us to gain a new paradigm in female health, out with the old and in with the new, and I'm bringing fresh perspectives from someone in the arena. I've been practicing women's health for nearly 20 years, and I'm spilling the tea on what it means to live at midlife, knowing that the best is yet to come. I'm sharing my Gen X approach to living through this transition. Sassy, a bit sweary, and always honest. Tactical tips and instantly usable information is my aim. I hope to make you laugh and that you learn something new that helps you embrace the change. Together, we bring power to the peri. Onward to the podcast. You're tuned in to the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely. Thank you for joining me today. If you've been with me for a while, you know I don't bring you something unless I actually put it to the test myself. And today's conversation is one of those times. We're talking about a tiny thing that turns out to be a really big thing: essential amino acids. The building blocks your body uses to build and hold on to muscle, support your hormones, steady your mood and your energy, and age the way you actually want to age. And here's what I want you to hear right up front. This matters more the older we get, not less. Decline is not inevitable. My guest is someone who has had a front row seat to the world of women's health for over 20 years. Liz Baker Plosser spent 7 years as editor-in-chief of Women's Health magazine, reaching more than 40 million women a month, with roles before that at Self, Well and Good, Soul Cycle, and Cosmo. She's an NASM certified trainer and nutrition coach, the author of Own Your Morning, and these days she's writing one of my favorite Substacks, Best Case Scenario. She knows the trends, and more importantly, she knows what actually holds up to the science. She and I get into the difference between protein, essential amino acids, creatine, and protein powder, and why so many of us in perimenopause and menopause can quietly be losing muscle, and why Liz makes the case that essential amino acids belong in your daily routine. I think so too. By the end of this one, I think you'll understand why I continue to take them every single day. For those of you who want to go deeper on essential amino acids and try the ones that Liz and I talk about in the show, head to getkeyon.com/lovely, where you'll save 20% off. And I will leave that link in the show notes for you. And certainly before we dive in, if you're not already on the list, what are you doing? Come join me for Fiona's Friday Favorites newsletter. It's a bi-weekly email newsletter where I share the things that I love, recipes I'm making, books I'm reading, products I'm trying out, and certainly the most recent episode. You can download them right from the newsletter. Go over to drlovely.com and sign up. I'd love to have you there. Okay, let's get into it. Me and Liz Baker Plosser tidying up all the information overload these days we're hearing about protein, what's actually important, and what you need to start doing right now. Thanks for listening. The AG1 you've all heard me talking about for so long just went through a major upgrade. AG1's next gen is here. It's the same single scoop once a day, but now it's clinically backed and formulated with more upgraded vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. The new next gen formula offers a more advanced, clinically backed formula that fills common nutrient gaps and supports gut health, all in the same easy once a day ritual. AG1 has been a game changer for my mornings. It sets the tone for my day, helps me feel my best, and like I'm taking care of my nutrient needs in one step. AG1's Next Gen includes 5 clinically studied probiotics and additional vitamins and minerals to support whole body health. Now clinically backed with an advanced formula, this is the perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't yet. I've been drinking AG1 daily for 6 years now, and I'm so happy to be partnering with them. Subscribe today and try the next gen of AG1. If you use my link, you'll also get a free bottle of AG D3K2, that's vitamin D3K2, an AG1 welcome kit, and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com. That's drinkag1.com/Fiona Lovely to get started with AG1's next gen and notice the benefits for yourself. That's drinkag1.com/Fiona Lovely. Let's talk about something incredibly important, your heart health. You probably already know the stark statistic. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the United States. Now, it's widely understood that men develop heart disease earlier in life than women. But what you might not know is that this difference starts to change as women age. By the age of 65, women begin to develop heart disease at the same rate as men. Why does this happen? Well, the sources tell us that declining estrogen levels play a significant role. Estrogen has a profound impact on our cardiovascular system. It actively improves our cholesterol levels, keeps inflammation down, increases crucial blood flow around the body, and even helps to reduce damaging free radicals. Think of estrogen as a vital protector for your heart. It's important for our heart health, too, to take minerals. Certain minerals, such as magnesium and boron, are highlighted as being essential nutrients that our hearts and bodies need to function at their peak performance. When your mineral levels drop, it can lead to a decline in both your estrogen levels and your overall heart health. This is why I'm so enthusiastic about my partnership with Beam Minerals. They have formulated a fantastic way to make getting your daily electrolytes and essential minerals absolutely effortless. Forget about cumbersome pills or messy powders. Beam Minerals offers a simple solution. Just a small shot each day provides your body with the natural, plant-based support it needs. Ready to take proactive steps for your heart health and overall well-being? Head on over to beamminerals.com and don't forget to use my special code LOVELY to receive a fantastic 20% off your first order of Beam Minerals. That's LOVELY. Thanks, Beam. This is the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast. I'm Dr. Fiona Lovely, and today my guest is Liz Baker Plosser, former editor-in-chief of Women's Health magazine. I mean, that's really exciting, Liz. Thanks for coming on the show.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, you are here to clarify one of the biggest issues in women's health at midlife right now, which is the conversation around protein, essential amino acids, creatine, etc. What do we need to know? But before we get there, because we got to tease that all apart, sister. Like, the women need to know what you know. How did you find yourself here?
Oh my goodness. Well, I geek out about all those topics, so I can't wait to dig in. But my entire mission is to help translate the amazing research and education and smartness of doctors and researchers. I'm a health journalist. That's what I've been doing for more than 20 years. I've worked at a lot of iconic brands over the years, such as Self and Cosmo, and most recently, as you said, the former editor-in-chief of Women's Health for 7 years. And honestly, as the years have gone by and more information has been at our fingertips between social media and YouTube, the internet, all the places, everybody can be an expert, which can be a very good thing. But I believe deeply in science. And I feel that I was put on this earth to talk to these people, to learn everything I can about feeling our best every day. It's what I want for myself. And I deeply want that for my friends, my family, and people I don't know, such as your listeners and viewers.
Mm. Well, I know you're here to dispense the wisdom, so please bring it on. But you are a health and nutrition enthusiast yourself. It's so obvious when you look at your Substack is fantastic, by the
Thank
way.
you.
How do people find that?
So I write a Substack that is wellness focused and evidence based. It's called Best Case Scenario.
Right.
And the direct link is substack.lizplosser.com. And thank
Amazing.
you. I love
Yes.
writing it. And I go deep into a lot of the topics like the ones we're going to discuss today.
And it's just so obvious. So as a health and nutrition enthusiast, and having had the vantage point of being the editor in chief of Women's Health magazine, what do women actually want when it comes to their health?
They just want to feel good. And I think for so long, and I can speak from personal experience as a 47-year-old deep in the trenches of perimenopause, we just got really good at assuming that it was okay, normal, status quo to not feel great. And I think they just are looking for tools that have evidence behind them that aren't going to upend their lives, which are already chaotic as they're at their peak professionally, maybe taking care of children, perhaps also aging parents. We already have a lot going on. So we need tools in our toolbox that are easy, that fit into our lives, but that make a real difference. I think that's what women want.
I love it. Well, that was somewhat of an easier question to answer than to ask that about men. What do women want? Anyways, I digress. We'll be here all day if we try to debate that. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be a 2 second long conversation.
Well,
Oh,
I think that's not to jump in, but I think one of the things that I'm really passionate about and slightly heartbroken about is that there's always been so much information for men. You know, the vast majority of research in this space when it comes to health has been done on men. I mean, just as a for instance, when it comes to sexual dysfunction, whether it's desire, pleasure, pain, there's 24 drugs for men that help treat those conditions. There are exactly two for women, and most doctors don't even know about those options. So there's really a big gap when it comes to what we know and have learned about men versus women. But the good news is there's a lot of awesome, smart people that are trying to change that. And what we do know, we can share today. Not
I
all
love
of
it.
it, but some of it.
But some of it, yes, I know we again we could go on for a while. Okay, so I want to come back to something you said about the what women want. And
Hmm.
I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but you said something along the lines of we've normalized not feeling good.
Hmm.
And we have to just acknowledge, or I have to say that in a lot of ways, that's been reinforced for women because we go to our doctors and we talk about these things, and the doctors say, well, that's just middle age. Have a massage. You need to relax. Drink a glass of wine. Hopefully, doctors aren't recommending that. But there's been absurd things that have been named when talking about women's health. And so I just want to acknowledge that. And I also, yes, go ahead.
Well, you're exactly right. And I don't think it's out of maliciousness 99% of the time that doctors aren't speaking to their patients about these things. I mean, the root of the problem begins in medical school, where
Absolutely.
less than 30% of doctors get any training on menopause, even though 100% of 50% of the population will navigate that phase of life. And I mean, I was just talking to a renowned menopause doctor recently who said when she went to medical school, she got about 1 hour of training on it. I mean, that is just breaks your heart a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So I think part of it is they just haven't been trained, so they don't know the questions to ask and how to support women. And that's yeah, that's kind of where it all begins. And then secondly, and I sort of alluded to this, my own personal situation. I mean, I'm a health journalist. I've written about this. I've led brands that write about this. I've personally written deep dives on my Substack about perimenopause and menopause. And yet here I am, 47, knowing that my mom went through it at 45, crossed into the menopause chapter, and wasn't sleeping well, was feeling moody beyond what, my normal moodiness is I'm not very dramatic, but I
You
have
do.
three.
You're
I,
a woman.
yeah, I
Hormones.
have three kids. I travel a lot, a big life. And I just kept saying, well, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I don't get hot flashes at night, which I'm very fortunate and grateful for. But that doesn't mean other things weren't pretty wonky and weird. So all of that is to say, I think we have to hear these things a bunch of different ways. And I am so glad there are people like you who are creating shows like this to give women great information. But even those of us who know better and know that, there are options and tools, many of which I was already using, but, I'm kind of talking about like actual hormone therapy and those things. Like, we have gotten so good at saying this is just how it's supposed to be or has to be, that we don't go seek help. And then when we do seek help, the doctors may not even be equipped to give it to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So the statistics around that 51% of the population is female, which means if we live long enough, we will all of us go through menopause. Not every woman will have a baby, but all of us will go through
Yep.
menopause. And we will live 40% of our lives past menopause. And yet, isn't it just amazing when you think of those numbers, Liz? How is it that we had a whole medical school structure that did not teach health and wellness to doctors or doctors to be about this era of a woman's life? How did that happen? I know you don't have an answer, but it just amazes me. It doesn't matter how many times I think about it, I'm still shocked.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's there is focus on the puberty stage.
productive.
Thankfully, there's
Yeah,
reproductive,
yeah.
exactly. A lot of focus on fertility and pregnancy and more on postpartum. But it's
Mhm.
like perimenopause and menopause just got
Gotta
left
get some help.
behind. No one thought about them, even though, like you said, 51% and 40% of our lives.
Yep. Isn't that something? Well, it's because of women like you and I stepping up to the mic and saying, all right, like I tell the story on the show so often, my listeners, many of them have been with me right from the start, 11 years at this point. They know I'm an accidental menopause expert. Probably you too. But again, you were
Yeah.
a health journalist, so it makes a little more sense. But, anyways, okay, you're here to clarify this whole protein thing for us. So, first of all, why is getting enough protein non-negotiable as we age, and where do we fall down on this?
So, protein is a macronutrient that is made up of essential amino acids. Hopefully, you think it tastes delicious. It comes from many different sources, whether you're a vegan, a vegetarian, or you eat everything. But inside, whether it's the chicken, the beans, the yogurt, whatever your source is, what your body is actually using from that macronutrient is the essential amino acids that are inside. There are 9 of them, and your body pulls them apart and then uses them like building blocks to power every single thing your body does, from growing hair to boosting neurotransmitters to supporting digestion, and of course, to protecting and building lean muscle mass, which is what I think a lot of people recently have equated protein with. But it does all sorts of other things in your body. So it's really, really important that we're eating enough protein, and particularly for women, because as we get older, and this does impact men too, but particularly women, as our estrogen begins declining and becomes more erratic during perimenopause, we are less good, less efficient at pulling those amino acids out of our food sources of protein and using them to power all these things that our bodies need to do to operate, to keep us healthy, and for us to feel our best.
Interesting. Okay, so we can get the essential amino acids from many different sources. Of course, we hear a lot about making sure we're eating lean meats and eggs and dairy, and we can also get it from vegetarian sources too. Sometimes I look at these numbers, okay, and the number that gets thrown around a lot is 120 grams a day, or is it ounces? Grams. It's grams, isn't it?
Grams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if a chicken breast is like the size of your hand, is about 30 grams, that's a lot of chicken in one day.
Yeah,
Help, help.
I know. So an egg is about 6 to 8 grams, depending on how big it is. It's a lot of eggs. So I will say, when you start talking about nutrition and food, it is hard to find a more hot button topic in my
Mhm.
experience navigating this space as a, former magazine editor and now as an independent journalist who writes and is quite active on social media. I think the reason why is because everybody eats food. So everybody is an expert on food. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
all have strong opinions. And I'm not just talking about why someone would choose to be vegan or not. There are really valid reasons, whether it's for ethical reasons, for health considerations, or whatever it is. That's just one example. People get pretty fired up about this. So take that energy to the protein conversation. And I have found, yes, that it can be friction filled. And even if you talk to the leading experts and researchers in the space about it, there is some variance about how much protein they're recommending. And I would argue there's like a teeny bit of backlash now. People are like, okay, calm down. We're
Yeah.
putting protein in Pop Tarts and
Oh God, I
cans of
know.
fizzy water, and like it's going everywhere. Maybe it's jump shark. But the rule that I personally follow, and I am a woman who loves to work out, it is like how I protect my mental and emotional health. I really actually enjoy going to the gym and pushing myself there. So I am quite active. And for my height, weight, and lifestyle, I aim for a gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight, which for me is about 125. I would say a safe rule of thumb that no expert would balk at for a woman in their 40s or 50s, so their hormone levels are definitely either about to start fluctuating or they're already deep in it, is 100 grams or more a day. That is a safe target. And I think, as somebody who for a little over 5 years has been very conscious about my protein intake every single day. And again, I'm a health journalist. I write about this stuff. I get to talk to experts like you and many others. I find that can be difficult some days.
Mhm.
When you're putting together a quick dinner, or I'm on the road a lot, you're on vacation. So I think what ends up happening is some women who really want to do the right thing and are working hard to eat that much protein find like, oh, this is hard, or my kids don't want to have another chicken breast or piece of tilapia for dinner tonight. Or if they're like me, my husband loves to cook. I'm very lucky. He's making pasta, not from scratch, but the homemade sauce.
Yep.
And I also want to live my life and not be like, well, should I go eat a can of tuna fish before I sit down to family
Yeah.
dinner?
Yeah. Yeah.
That you want to live like a life in balance and live life.
Mhm.
So that's something that was interesting to me personally. And I think that a lot of women relate to. And thankfully, there are tools to help you to make sure that your body is getting enough of those amino acids so it can do all those things that we talked about without you really like stressing out or turning your life upside down for another egg.
Yeah, and it does get stressful, and those things are that's so helpful for us to start this conversation. I know for me, when I think about even 100 grams, I don't eat that much, and I eat less the older I get. I'm just
Yeah, that's
really
common.
right.
Our
So
appetite changes. Yes.
and how do we then not stress about it? Because of course, if you watch social media, you're going to believe that you're going to lose all your muscle mass if you don't eat 100 to 120 grams of protein a day. And yet I've interviewed nutritionists on the show who said everybody needs to settle down. Like we need a variety of. So when I look at, let's say it's 100 grams. So when I look at that,
Hmm.
I go, I would normally naturally eat maybe half of that. And I'm not even talking about the vegetables I need for
Hmm.
nutrients and fiber, the fruit I want to eat because it tastes good, not to mention anything else I might want to eat. So again, it's starting to feel like, Liz, for me, I'm a child of the 70s, but I grew up in the 80s and all this insane diet culture and how we were so attuned to watching all of our calories and consumption. And so
And
this is,
fat, everyone was talking about fat back then. I also grew up in
yes,
the 80s. I mean, I
uh-huh.
remember being
Susan
in middle
Powder.
school and high school, and sadly, as young
Yeah.
women, we were like going and
Avoid
getting
that.
plain bagels because and
Yes.
eating plain pretzels because no fat. So I'm
Yes.
really happy we've come a long way. I think it is a very good thing people are talking about protein. And, I had a similar experience. Once again, health journalist had even written features over the years about the benefits of protein. And I kind of thought, well, I grew up in Kansas City, which is like barbecue culture.
Yeah.
And, we cooked
Yeah.
burgers in the backyard. So I thought, like, well, I eat everything. So I'm fine. And that was, back in my early 40s when I got pretty serious about weightlifting. And a good friend who is an RD as well as a trainer had gently told me that I might feel better if I was prioritizing protein more in my diet. And she was kind of asking some questions about what I was eating. And it inspired me to, for the first time, like take a hard look at what I was eating in an average day and an average week. And I didn't change anything. I just started writing it down. And I knew the 100 number and, maybe ideally for my activity level, 125,
Hmm.
135.
Hmm.
So much like you, when I calculated it out, I was getting like 40 grams a day.
Yeah.
And again, I eat everything. I'm not, I vegans and vegetarians can absolutely get enough protein. I think not to take us in a different direction, but the trick is that you need the essential amino acids and you need all of them at the same time to do that building
Hmm.
block building construction, literally construction in your body.
Hmm.
So you have to be extra careful to make sure that you're combining sources and getting all of them. Foods like fish, eggs, meat, those are called complete. They have the complete profile, the essential amino acids. And so at any rate, learning that number inspired me to change my diet because I was quite shocked and wanted to kind of turn my body into a lab and do an experiment and see what happened when I changed
Hmm.
things. And it took a couple solid weeks of, being pretty annoying and pulling out a food scale to weigh the chicken breasts and like start to learn the numbers. And, but you do pick it up pretty quickly, like learning how much protein is in 3/4 cups of Greek yogurt or whatever it is. And it started to become more organic and easier in my life. And I did start feeling better when I prioritized protein in my diet. I really did notice a difference. I felt like I had more energy for my workouts. I felt like I was recovering faster. And yet, despite all of that, and even as somebody who lives and breathes this every day, I do struggle sometimes too. Like we're humans living human, normal, busy lives.
Hmm. Hmm. I love you saying that you actually started to feel better because I think that's the question when many of us start on this optimizing protein thing. I know I had this experience just about a year ago. I thought, okay, well, I need to get real serious, just like you talked about. And I felt myself getting really obsessive about it. And I was like,
Hmm.
uh-oh, like my brain knows this from being a child of the 80s, growing up in the 80s.
Hmm.
Like my brain knows this well. This is how we start to feel shitty about ourselves. Like this is all this
Yeah.
self-deprecate. And I was like, no, there's got to be a better way. And of course, what I think we need to talk about now is the supplementation because we can
Hmm.
add in those essential amino acids in a way that doesn't feel the same way as eating a steak. Like I'm from Alberta, so we can talk about, for heaven's sakes, we can talk about beef. You're from Kansas City. We need to talk about the
Yeah.
cows. Cows are delicious. They're very cute, but they're delicious.
Yes. And I do not say this lightly. I am not I have a teeny tiny short supplement stack. I don't take much. I'm fascinated by biohacking culture, but I'm pretty sparse. And really stick to the basics, the pillars of well-being, as I call them, which is like movement, sleep, managing stress the best we can, social connection, and how we fuel our bodies. And I also, like you, and I think like a lot of women, can go to a dark place if I start tracking too obsessively. It's why I put the food scale away. And that was a short moment in time when I, sort of did that self audit. And then I was like, okay, I got this. And again, like, I don't want to be eating cans of tuna fish before family pasta dinner. So I don't say this lightly that I don't believe in magic bullets. I don't love the word hack even, but when I discovered in my mid or early-ish, I guess I was about 43, when I learned about a supplement called essential amino acids, I, first of all, was appalled that I didn't already know about them as a journalist. And then I did the second thing that you do when you're in my line of work, which is you go to PubMed or Google Scholar and you
Mhm.
start looking at the studies and reading them from top to bottom. And you look for disclosures, who's running this study, what lab was it done in, were women part of this study, all the things. And I was shocked, Fiona, that
Mhm.
there are more gold standard studies even on essential amino acids than there are on creatine. I
Wow.
know it's wild. I think if I had a crystal ball, I would predict that this is what this you started your menopause podcast 11
Yeah.
years ago. If
Yeah.
we're talking again in 11 years, and I hope we are, we everyone will know about amino acids. Everyone will be taking them, I believe. So
I hope
anyway,
so.
I tried an amino acid supplement because I didn't want to be crazy about my protein intake, but I wanted to feel awesome. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to feel strong and recover quickly from my workouts. And again, I think in my like personal journey in my 40s, that was another big inflection point where I was like, "Oh, wow." Within 2 to 3 weeks, I was like, "Dang, this is awesome."
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I had a similar experience with the essential amino acids. I thought, how much of a difference can this make? Because, there, as you said, there's magic bullets and there's promises
We're
all over the place.
skeptics.
Well, I think so. Maybe because we can read the science and we
Yeah.
understand about things. I mean, I certainly learned plenty about essential amino acids when I was in school, of course, being the building blocks they are for cellular function. And as you said, just about everything inside the body requires those building blocks. And of course, we get them from protein. But the first thing I noticed was I felt like it accessed a different level of hydration for me, taking the
Hmm.
essential amino acids. And then I didn't have I take them in the morning with my greens drink, and I easy to take in there. And what else do I put in there? Collagen powder, creatine powder goes in there too. We're going to talk about creatine because God knows that's the thing, right? That's
It
the
is
thing
the
everybody
thing.
wants to know about, right? That's like the flex from protein. Okay, once we got to protein settled, now we got to go on to the creatine. Anyways, and then I just realized that my brain, my mentals were better when I take it first thing
Hmm.
in the morning. I'm not hungry for a period of time. Like I don't feel like I mean, not that you don't want to not eat, but first
Hmm.
thing in the morning, you take your time. And I certainly feel, and I've not had the that I'm aware of the loss of muscle that others talk about having. And I think this is a really important thing to talk about because we're saying, all right, we here's the protein, but we don't want to hold so tightly to it because can become icky thinking. So how can we add something in that's easy? And of course, this is when we do an essential amino acid powder. Now, you and I both like the same one, which is from Kion. It's called Aminos. And as the people that listen to the show know, I have interviewed about the essential amino acids before. And so this is bringing a different element. This is actually bringing
Hmm.
the feminine element to us. Yes. So thank you for that.
The feminine energy. Let's go.
Exactly. It's good.
Yeah. So Keon, as you mentioned, that is the brand that I landed on back when I was working in media. One of the perks of my job is you just get like boxes of free
Sure.
stuff all the time. It was really fun, opening up like, oh, what's in here? Oh, a new pair of sneakers to try this weekend. Great. Yeah. But I would also get a lot of supplements sent to me, so many supplements. And you have to put on your hat because you're putting this in your body conceivably to feel good and for your health and well-being. So you want to make sure that it's number one, that it's safe, and two, that it's doing something positive. So I always did my research before trying any supplement brand. Number one, make sure it's third party tested. You want an independent, outside, objective organization to confirm that what the brand says they're putting in that bottle or package is actually in there. And we can get in the weeds a little bit because I geek out over the science. But one thing I really appreciated about Keon is that they actually give the amounts of each essential amino acid on the label. And very importantly, if you look at the studies, it is leucine enriched, which takes extra work and makes it more expensive for them. But that is the way it is studied in the labs where it actually makes a positive difference in lab subjects. So it's really important to find a brand that does that. So Kion did all of those things. And again, I like to change one thing at a time and give it about a month to see what's happening. So I started using a scoop of aminos in the morning, much like you. I take it. I don't do a greens drink. I drink coffee with a little bit of milk, but I make a big glass of ice water and I put in my aminos and I put in my creatine, which I'm excited to talk about, and I stir it up. And I think of it as my insurance policy that I know today I have activated protein synthesis in my body. So whatever happens, if I can't get my scrambled eggs or my healthy, protein forward lunch, or we make pizza for dinner, I'm still good. And I know I've taken care of my body and I'm fueling all of those chemical reactions that are happening, my cellular health, my immune system health, digestive health, heart health, cardiovascular, lung system health, muscle health, all of it. I think this is also a hot button topic, but I'm just going to say it because I think it's real and human. I noticed that it started to finally look like I was spending as much time in the gym as I was spending time in the gym. My reflection, I started seeing more definition in my arms and my legs. And that was exciting, because
Sure.
that's another side effect of going through peri-menopause is that it's harder to hang on to and build muscle. So you have to work that much harder, and either through higher reps or heavier weights, you have to make sure you're continuing to progressively overload your body and to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. And like I said, I'm a fitness enthusiast. I grew up as a sporty kid playing tennis, basketball, and soccer. And I used to do marathons. And then I got really into weightlifting. So it was like very satisfying to be like, wow, I look
There
like
she
I go
is.
to the gym for, 45 to 60 minutes
Yeah.
and do my thing.
Amazing.
So I think you're allowed to want to feel good in your genes, and that when we feel confident in our bodies and our reflection, reflects how
Hmm.
our spirit and joy and
Yes.
exuberance for life and our hard work, that
Yeah.
that is pretty awesome, and also gives you a lot of momentum to keep
Keep
going and to
going.
keep doing healthy things for yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And you absolutely deserve it. And we just have this divergence that seems to happen at some point. I know lots of women that I talk to in the clinic talk about this, how I feel in my mind like I'm 30, but I look like I'm 65, right? So and so then what happens is we get into this like, oh God, I gotta go. I gotta start to weightlifting and I gotta do the protein and I gotta do the creatine and all the things. And so we get a little bit obsessive about it because again, this is where our nervous systems grew up, was thinking that this was the way we were to do things. So you absolutely deserve to feel this. Okay, here's my supremely superficial question for you. What is your favorite flavor of the aminos? Because I have a strong opinion on this one.
Oh, I love it. So it's interesting because it changes. I kind of get in, like, this is much like how I listen to music. I'll get like stuck on a song and then play it so many times that I like ruin the song,
Yes.
But my current favorite, and a lot of friends of mine say this too, because of course I've sung its praise, I've sung the
Yeah.
Kion Aminos praises to the rooftops, is mango. What's yours?
Oh, watermelon, 100%.
Watermelon is my second favorite. So I'm coming off a big watermelon kick.
You
But
overdid it.
honestly,
Yeah,
I
we
did.
we
I
overdid
ruined
it.
watermelon for myself for a little bit.
I got to go back to mango because I haven't tried that one in a while, and we kind of overdid it on the cool lime. So that's my husband's favorite is the cool lime. But I have to say that see what I mean? It was just a superficial girly question, but I
I
had
love
to
it.
ask.
Yeah. It's a real question. Yeah. No,
It
I'm
is.
asked. That is one of the most common DMs I find in my Instagram inbox is, which flavor should I get? What is your favorite flavor? These are real questions.
Okay, all right. Well, we've covered there's four flavors. The one we haven't talked about is the berry flavor.
The
Just
berry.
yeah, mixed berry, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive in. We've established our favorite flavors for now, but next time we talk, Liz, it could be totally different, and that's
Probably will
fine.
be. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just fine. So let's get into the creatine conversation, please. Tell us why we need to know about creatine. Fill us in, please.
Yeah. So it's funny. And not on purpose, but I published a piece this morning that is like the questions I am most frequently asked. I sort of did it selfishly to have just like a depository of like, okay, I've got the answers, I've mapped it out. I can like cut and paste or just send people a link when I get the DM for this question. But I led with the most common question I get in my DMs, which is what is the difference between essential amino acids and creatine? Because people are, I think aminos are, and we're kind of like going back and forth. That's like a nickname for them. EAAs, essential amino acids, aminos, all the same thing. You can take them in powder form. You can also take them in capsule form if you're not a mango super fan like Fiona and I are.
Yep.
I personally enjoy the taste, but some people are not into putting a flavored powder into water. And so they work equally well. So there's no wrong way to do it. Either one is great. But people are like, well, if I'm already taking creatine, then I don't need, why would I need EAAs? What's the difference? So let me break it down because they work in completely different ways in the body and it's not an either or, it's a both and. So you can really think of aminos and we just did hopefully I think we did a good job really kind of explaining to your listeners what they are and why you should care about them. I think of them really as repair and recovery, those building blocks. And as you very smartly brought up, they're helping cell turnover and health, right? They're helping your muscle fibers repair, replenish, do all the turnovery things that need to happen and every other thing in your body, which is why you might find you have more energy because you're recovering faster from a workout. Hopefully you're sleeping better. That was my experience. All of which does make you feel better when you wake up the next day and need to tackle your work, your family life, and hopefully you're going to the gym and doing some weightlifting or some other type of workout. So you can give more effort to your day by taking aminos. Creatine is different. Creatine is also naturally occurring in foods, particularly meats. Again, we're on the right track there. Many of us are not having like a ton of beef, liver, et cetera, which are the highest sources, food sources of creatine. You'd have to have a lot to give your body all that it can use. So, but I do want to say that you are getting it from your diet naturally, most people. Your body then uses it in its cells in the mitochondria. I'm not going to get super deep or technical about this because I am not a scientist. And again, my job is to hopefully make it easier, is helping with ATP, which is a compound that allows your body to give more effort and energy. So it also is drawing more water into every cell. So it's keeping them hydrated, which also helps with how much effort you can exert. So all of your muscles can give that much more. And you will find this at the gym that, oh, I can eke out a couple more reps, or I can pick up the 12-pound dumbbells instead of the 10-pounders today. Now, even if you say are a runner, which I used to be, your heart is a muscle. So it's not like, oh, this is only for people who hit the weight room, though I think all women should be doing strength training. And I think that's why creatine originally got its reputation as like kind of a bodybuilding or gym bro supplement. It became a big thing in that community in the 70s and way back in the day, early days of the internet. There were like message boards where they were exchanging information about it. I remember the best athletes, male athletes in high school, they got really into creatine. They were like always talking about it back in the 90s. The rest of us have caught up and realized, oh, you don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or want to be him even to benefit from creatine. You can just be a normal woman who wants to get more out of her workout. If I'm going to the gym for 45 minutes, I want it to count. I don't want that to be I want it to be the time best spent that it can be. I guess I'll pause there. Hopefully that sort of gave your listeners some information about why they're different, why we take both of them. I take both of them every morning. I get asked a lot, like, what time of day should I take creatine? There's a lot of hot takes out there about like, take it before your workout, take it right after your workout. I have talked to the leading creatine researchers in the world for articles, And there is like a teeny tiny sliver of benefit to taking it directly after your workout, which I know is odd because you would think, oh, take it right before so you can give that much more. But the way creatine works in the body is you're going to build up levels. You're going to saturate your system with it. And any that you don't use, you urinate in a compound called creatinine. But if you top off your stores, then you've got it all day, every day to move about the world with enthusiasm, exuberance, and energy.
Here's something that might surprise you. When our estrogen drops during menopause, we don't just lose protection for our bones and our brain. We lose estrogen's protective effects on our heart. Your heart is packed with mitochondria, the cellular powerhouse that keep it beating strong. But as we age and go through the stages of menopause, oxidative stress can damage these mitochondria, affecting our cardiovascular health in ways we're only just beginning to understand. That's where MitoQ's hero ingredient, mitoquinol, comes in. It's the world's first mitochondrial target antioxidant that gets directly into your mitochondria, targeting stress at the source. Studies show that 20 milligrams per day of mitoquinol in older adults can improve arterial function by up to 42% and support healthy blood flow, exactly what our hearts need as we navigate this life stage. Ready to support your heart where it needs it the most? Visit mitoq.com and use my special code LOVELY10 for 10% off your first order. That's mitoq.com, code LOVELY10. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
So I take it when I remember to take it, which is bright and early, first thing in the morning. And then I'll stop there, but I do think it's fascinating and exciting, the really new research that has been done on the brain benefits, the cognitive benefits, and fatigue benefits of creatine very recently. This is like brand new stuff.
Okay, we're going to put a pin in research because you and I are going to geek out on this research thing. But let me ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a matter of aminos, essential amino acids, creatine, protein powder? If you're being given those three things, and let's say, can you prioritize them? Or is it really just a matter of, well, add in the protein powder if you're not getting in what you need from the other things? Like that should be number 3. Should aminos be number 1? Can we prioritize it, or does it not work that way?
If you made me, what is that game? I'm not going to say the name of it. I think it has a bad word in it.
That's okay.
Like
I'm Canadian. I've heard
murder and a bad word or something. I don't know.
This must be an American thing. I've not heard of this.
Okay,
Go on.
it is. Your American listeners are nodding their heads, I hope.
Going,
or they're like, what the heck is this girl Liz talking about? At any rate, good. I don't know why my brain went there, but if I was forced to rank them, I would say aminos number 1, creatine number 2, and protein powder number 3. I use protein powder, but I really think of it as a helper with my meals, as part of my nutrition and diet. So my typical breakfast, which I have after the gym, because like you, I don't love working out on a full stomach. That's why I have aminos beforehand. I will often make myself a smoothie. So some frozen fruit, maybe some peanut butter or peanut butter powder. I use whole milk because I have 3 children who love whole milk. So does mama. And
it's delicious.
It is delicious. It is delicious.
Of course it is. That's how we're supposed to drink it. By the way, here's a fun fact, Liz. I'm going to interrupt you for a quick sec. In Canada, whole milk we call homo milk. Have you heard this?
Really?
Yeah, it's for homogenized milk. So apparently at some point that's what it was called because that was what was available.
Way.
And that was before we had like 2%, 1% skim. It was.
Do you call the others 2%, 1% skim?
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it's homo milk.
Homo milk. Yeah. My husband thinks that is
Cool.
hilarious. He thinks
That
that is the
that is
funniest
very
thing.
funny. I
Anyways,
had
we,
no idea.
yeah, now you know.
I'm
And
gonna order my next latte with homo milk
with
in
homo milk. In
it.
Canada, you'd be fine. When you come to travel to Canada and you're at your Starbucks, you'd be like, I'm going to have that with the homo, please, if you don't mind. Or if you want a half and half, they call it brev, by the way. I just learned that recently. Another fun fact about dairy and odd things about Canada, in certain parts of Canada, you buy your milk in a bag.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna book a plane ticket after this for a
Well,
research trip
and
just to
this is
learn more about the
just
dairy ins
about
and outs
homo
of
milk.
Canada. Yeah,
Yes, yes. Homo milk is 3.25% is what we consider it here. But just to get back to your kids and
fascinating.
oh yeah. And the bags of milk, by the way, they come in 1 liter bags. And you get three bags in a bag, and then everybody has a like an open top jug that you just drop the bag in, then you snip off the end, and there's your milk.
That is so cool. Well, my kids are 11, 15, and 15, and my 15-year-old son Charlie, that child goes through so much homo milk. Like I am just we
Growing
get
a brain. He's growing a
2 to 3
body.
gallons at a time. And sometimes I'll
Wow.
still have to run out to the bodega because I
Yes.
live in Brooklyn. So we have those on the
Yes.
corners to fill the gaps until the next
Yes.
grocery delivery. Because again, Brooklyn, so we get our groceries delivered. Look at us and
I
our
know.
quirky little neighborhood traditions.
By the way,
Um,
the milk in a bag is on your side of the country, so that's like Ontario and Quebec. I don't know about the Maritimes.
so you have like a big box that takes up space in the fridge? Because this is one of my biggest complaints about the big gallon jugs.
Yeah.
It's like half our bottom, lowest shelf in the
Yes.
fridge is filled with milk, and we're always like puzzling
Where to
leftovers
put
and
it?
other
Yeah.
items in
Yeah.
elsewhere. It's
Well,
very
okay.
efficient.
I'm on the west side of the country, and so
Okay.
we do milk in cartons. Now we
Oh,
do
okay. Got
have
it.
bottles as well. We have glass bottles if we get organic, or
Same. We have
there's
that too.
yes, and then there's the big plastic jugs that you get from Costco or whatever. That's 2 liters in a big jug. We get those too. We don't drink that much in this house. Probably coffee consumes more than anything dairy wise in our
Same.
house, but
Hmm.
so we have
That's
lots of
mostly what I use it for. But I grew up in Kansas City, like I said,
yeah.
and my parents still live in the big house. I had 3 siblings, 2 dogs, the whole thing. So there's a lot of space in KC. So this is the thing there that families will often have a like second full refrigerator in the
In the
basement.
garage or in the
Yeah,
basement.
in the
Yes.
garage, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's right next to our garage. And to this day, when I go home to visit, I am always like, I feel like a Disney cartoon character when I walk in there and I'm like, oh, the second stash of milk and LaCroix and all the good
Yeah.
stuff.
And that's where dad would keep the beer for when people came to visit,
Yes,
or there was
same.
always okay, this will if I didn't already fess up to the fact that I was a 70s, 80s kid, mom always had wine coolers in there in case
Oh, the
nope.
boxed wine.
Okay, sorry, we're supposed to be having a serious conversation about pro.
Okay, we
Let's get back
digress.
yes, we do.
We digress. We
Yes.
were talking about milk. We were talking about creatine.
Yes.
I know what it was. I was ranking them. So
Yes.
aminos, then creatine, then protein powder. I also use Keon's. They have a whey protein powder.
Mm-hmm.
Whey has the complete all 9 essential amino acid profile. But I use it again as a stopgap. I think of it as a helper to make sure my meals during the day are getting to 30 grams. So if I'm getting, say, 12 grams from Greek yogurt, I will take a scoop and stir it in, and then I'll, sprinkle some like nuts or maybe granola or fresh fruit on top. I use it in my smoothies. I like to make what I call 20-minute oats, where I use old fashioned oats, homo whole milk.
Yeah.
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 I
3.25, baby.
I
That's where it's
stir in
at.
my scoop of Keon's Whey protein powder and then put some like dried cherries or something on top, pop it in the fridge for 20 minutes and then eat it. So those are just some examples about how I use it in my life. I know some people consider that part of their supplement stack. I don't really think of protein powder that way. I think of it as like a dietary
Mm.
like add-on personally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't you feel I tell me I'm not the only one. I feel like freaking Popeye. If I manage to get my yogurt sorted and I stir some protein powder in there and then I add some hemp seeds or
Chia seeds.
yes, chia on top of it. I'm like, I'm gonna be popping out muscles like anything. I honestly am like congratulating myself, going, "You're the bomb." Am I the only one that
Totally.
does
I'm like, I
that?
am such a wellness hero right now. Look at me.
Where's my cape? Oh goodness. Okay, well that's helpful to think about it. Protein powder counts more as food, less as a supplement. My husband starts really early with this, and he puts protein powder in his coffee along with his wazzed up. Well, he doesn't use homo milk; he uses whipping cream. But again,
Yeah.
he
I've
likes
heard
a little
that
protein.
called profit, like protein plus coffee. A lot of
Ah,
people like that.
yeah. I haven't
You could
tried it.
also, yeah, I would not put aminos in your coffee because they have mango and coffee for most of us
Weird.
don't mix. But creatine actually, I get asked this too. Does it like make it break down? Does it ruin its positive effects if you put it in a hot liquid like coffee? And the answer is no, it does not. It will actually dissolve even better in coffee.
Mm.
I recently asked a researcher about this. Her one caveat, this is Dr. Abby Ryan Smith, who does research on women and is an expert in creatine and aminos. She just said, most of us are drinking our coffee while it's still hot. So it, hopefully, or we would probably finish the mug within 15 or 20 minutes. After that, it's because of the acidity of coffee, it can start to break it down. But as long as you're
Oh.
having your coffee in a pretty normal amount of time, you're good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've put collagen in my coffee. I've done the bulletproof coffee situation, but I haven't tried the protein powder. I don't know. My husband might be onto something. He says to me this morning, he can never remember his supplements, but he says to me this morning, he's like, "We're getting low on protein powder. You got it ordered?" I'm like, "Well, listen, you got fingers." Anyways, he'll
Uh-huh.
he'll go to the GNC and pick it up. I'm like, "No, no, we're not doing crappy products
No,
in
we
this."
don't do that. That happened to us last summer. All my children were at camp, and Matt and I were staying at his folks' house in Durango, Colorado.
Mhm.
And because his mom was using the aminos too with us, we ran out and we weren't going back home to Brooklyn for a couple weeks. And I was like,
What am I gonna
oh
do?
no. And Keon, I
He's
will
in
say,
Boulder.
yeah,
Not
I
very far.
know, right? I should have called Angelo Keeley, who's the
Yes.
CEO, who's been on your show, and been like, drive me some, or just driven to him 8 hours
Yeah.
because they live on a mountaintop, like in a very remote area. And so even though Keon ships super fast, I knew it wasn't going to get there. It was going to take a minute. So we had to go to some, you know, whatever the
Yeah.
boutique version of GNC was in the area. I'm not going to say what brand it was, but you better believe I looked at all the labels and I was like,
Not the same.
they don't say how much of each amino acid is in here. They don't say anything about being leucine enriched. And then Fiona,
Mhm.
I got it anyway because I'm like, I've got to have aminos. I put it in water
Yeah.
and I'm pretty tough. And I'll do a lot in the name of wellness, put my cape on. I couldn't even drink it. So I had to
Oh
like put
no.
it in a big glass of orange juice. And then I was like, but now I'm having all this, like, I'm basically having a
Sugar,
soda
yes.
first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, just get a bunch of
Just
Kion and you'll be set.
stick with the mango or the watermelon. You can't go. Actually, the
Can't go
flavors.
wrong.
Now the flavors are all good. Okay, let's come back to this research that you have alluded to,
Yes.
which is creatine research talking about. There's two things you mentioned right off the top here. You said brain benefits, and you said after a broken night's sleep. Oh my God! Like we need to hear about this immediately, please.
Yes. Okay. So there's a couple of new studies that have been done. One was late last year and another one that came out earlier this year. And what they found in the lab was that folks who they intentionally sleep deprived and then gave creatine to versus the control group that they were also forced to have a broken night of sleep and then they gave a placebo, so like powder with not actual creatine in it. There was a measurable difference in how the people who had the creatine felt. They felt sharper, they felt more energetic, they felt less exhausted. So that really, made me raise my eyebrows because as a woman in perimenopause,
Mm-hmm.
and although I don't get those hot flashes, I am tossing and turning some nights and waking up at 3 a.m. and unable to fall back to sleep. I've had more of those nights than I would like to or, care to admit. And like I said, I'm on the road a lot, which you're sleeping in a hotel or changing time zones. That's always difficult. So after talking to some researchers about that study, it really inspired me to, I should add, it was a higher dose of creatine. It wasn't, so a standard dose of creatine, the scoop you get is 5 grams. They were testing higher doses in this population, which made me ask the question, well, if I have a horrible night of sleep, should I be having like 20 grams of creatine the next morning? And the answer is it's not a bad idea and probably a good one to double your dose the next morning. So it inspired me to start taking 10 grams in the morning. So yeah, basically you just feel sharper, more focused, clearer, even if your night of sleep really sucked. There's also awesome research that has come out on populations of people that have Alzheimer's. So these are people that are already navigating a severe brain disease. And the folks that they gave creatine to, they felt better. Their symptoms were not as severe. And what I find most interesting of all, because it shows like motivation and a desire to feel good, they were more apt and excited about going to the gym. So they tested them in all sorts of things through, questionnaires and tests. So that's really interesting. I think other studies will come out that will look at populations of people that, aren't at the age group yet to be at risk for those diseases. So, but we're aging, so 40s, 50s, et cetera, and how creatine might help protect our brain and give us a boost when we have a high cognitive load. That kind of like to bring this all full circle, as I was reading those studies, I go to, health conferences and retreats a fair amount. And I heard Rhonda Patrick, PhD. She's done a lot of research on women in the fitness space specifically, but also speaks, with a lot of knowledge about nutrition and supplements. She mentioned at the top of her keynote that she had taken 15 grams of creatine that morning, knowing that she was coming in to do this big hour-long keynote, and that's what she does on mornings when she has a big cognitive challenge coming that day. And I was like, what? That's interesting. So when I was talking to the researchers, what I had started is, okay, on those special days, like I'm doing a podcast with you, double my dose, or, oh, I slept bad, double my dose. I started to realize, Fiona, like, almost all of my days feel like a cognitive load and challenge.
Peri-menopause, baby.
So I wanted to know, like, is that safe? Is that okay?
Yeah.
And Darren Kandro, PhD, another one of the biggest renowned experts on it, said he's not going to give you a prescription. He's a good scientist and he recognizes that everybody's body is different. But he said, yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. So I think that's very interesting. In the studies in the labs, they test, and this depends on weight of the subjects, but they have tested all the way up to 30 grams of protein, which is quite a bit. Again, the standard dose is 3 to 5 grams for most of us. If I'm anticipating what your listeners are thinking about or questions I get from friends, people say, oh, but won't I get bloated? I heard I'll gain weight, or I feel kind of icky with that much creatine in my body. And those I think are real. And some people do respond that way. That has not been an issue for me. Some people describe that when you go through the quote unquote loading phase. So I mentioned how it takes a little while for the protein stores to build. Why do I keep saying protein?
Creatine, yes.
Because we've got protein on my brain.
Yeah,
the creatine stores to build up in your body. So the loading phase is like those first 2 weeks. Some people will take a really high dose for 2 weeks to sort of accelerate that process. I didn't. I just did 5 grams a day and waited my 2 weeks. I didn't notice any difference. I don't weigh myself, but I certainly didn't feel like, oh, my clothes fit different. Or if you feel like you're gaining weight, it is probably because your cells are hanging on to more water. You are extra hydrated, which is a good thing. That's part of the mechanism of how creatine works in your body. I have also heard from my friends and anecdotally from researchers that some people, it just takes a bit to acclimate. So my advice to you, if you're somebody who's had that experience in the past, or you're thinking about trying it again, and this you go through this, just stick it out, like give it a month, see, let your body acclimate. It is rare that I've heard anybody, continues doing it for that long and finds that they still feel that way. But that was a long way of coming back to, I think if you were taking 30 grams out of the blue, you might notice. I wouldn't be surprised if you felt a little different. I felt no different taking 10 grams, but I also didn't feel any different, except for I felt stronger at the gym. I felt no other side effects.
Stronger at the gym sounds pretty good to me. I don't mind that
Yeah.
at all. I like that. Okay, you have mentioned, we've talked about some of our favorite products, and that is the Kion Aminos, Kion Creatine, and there's also a whey protein powder that you've talked about. For anyone listening that wants to try these products, I take them myself. I absolutely love taking the Aminos product for years at this point. It is definitely that thing I travel with. Like lots of my supplements get left at home, but that's one that goes with me with my greens drink. You can go to getkion.com/lovely for 20% off. And I'd say try the watermelon, but not too many of you because I don't want it to sell out and then I can't get what I need. Just saying.
We know some people at Kion. We'll make sure they amp up production.
It's like your favorite like hairdresser, dentist. You're like, okay, I'm gonna share her name, or your cat sitter. You're like, I'm gonna share her name, but listen, if I can't get a hold of her,
that's right.
Coming to you.
That's right.
You. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying this. I feel so educated on this, and I'm also grateful for all these years having taken these products and understand now better. I can always sharpen my understanding of it, but I understand now even better, Liz, from what you've said, what it does for my body and how important it is for me in this perimenopausal journey. So thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Oh, I had so much fun. So I hope we had a lot of fun.
Not just talking about
people got to laugh along with us from afar.
Yes. You should have heard me talking to the parasite expert. Oh Lord, the two of us went off. And I actually said to my audio engineer, I said, leave it. It's human beings having a good time. This is how we have a conversation.
I love that. Oh, I'm gonna go listen to the parasite episode next. Love
the Worm Queen, pretty good. Well, you and I talking about the milk products and your parents' refrigerator. Like, I mean, come on, you needed that extra refrigerator. And the extra refrigerator was an old fridge that used to be in the house, but then it got relegated to
That's right. That's right.
It smelled like it'd been there a while.
Out to pasture.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Where can people find out more about you, please?
Oh, yes. I hope people will come read my Substack, Best Case Scenario. That is at lizplosser.substack.com. Oh, my goodness. Did I say it wrong at first? Substack? No. It is at substack.lizplosser.com. I should know that. Or just search for it on the internet, Liz Plosser, Substack, Best Case Scenario. And come find me on social media where I overshare about protein, aminos, my children, and all sorts of other health and wellness things. I am just at Liz Plosser is my handle, LizPlosser.
Fantastic. I highly recommend the viewing of the oversharing on Instagram. So good.
Thank you.
Isn't that what we're all doing? My God.
Much to my children's dismay, yes.
Oh, I'm sure. I know I mortify my nieces on the regular, and now it's just kind of become a way of life. Even my brother's like, dude, what are you doing over there? Like, just having my life out loud, friend. That's all I do.
Yeah, storytelling.
No, exactly. Because it's fun. It's fun listening to people talking.
Like I think like wave your freak flag. That's what makes it real. Like embrace that.
I want to see the women after listening to this message or listening to our messages today through this podcast, mixing their protein powder in with their yogurt and being like, I'm getting some Popeye muscles here. Yeah, there we go. This is muscles way better than mine.
No. I told you I love to lift. That's why.
Yes, and I can see that. And thank you for that because it's so inspiring for most women, and myself included, so intimidated by the weight room. Oh my God. But I know that's another conversation for the next time you come on the show.
Yeah.
And I'd love to ask you the final question I ask all the guests that come on the show. And it goes like this. Have a little fun with it, please. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self?
Have a little fun with it. There's so many directions I could go. Yes. I think what I would tell my younger self is that the sun always rises tomorrow and that there is not much in this life that a hot shower, a good night of sleep, and tomorrow's sunrise cannot fix. And I am saying that out loud for present Liz and future Liz too. But I wish that is a lesson I had learned earlier and one I hope to impart to my friends and children.
I think that is fabulous advice. Say it again. A hot shower, good night's sleep, and the sunrise.
Tomorrow morning sunrise, it will rise again.
Liz Baker Plosser, thank you for coming on the show. I've enjoyed our conversation today.
Same. I really did. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. The information and other content provided in this show, or in any linked materials, is not intended and should not be construed as medical advice, nor is the information a substitute for professional medical expertise or treatment. We are doctors, but we aren't your doctor. Seek your doctor's opinion. If you or any other person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical treatment. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have heard in this podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. The opinions and views expressed on this page and in this show have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, health practice, or other institution. Thank you.